This is the Tallahassee Business Podcast, bringing you engaging conversations with influential members of the community that you need to know. This episode is brought to you by Mill Creek Financial Consultants. At Mill Creek Financial Consultants, we offer more than just financial planning. We develop a relationship with you that helps you avoid common missteps, make confident decisions, and put your assets to work so you can enjoy the peace of mind that comes from financial security. Don't delay your important financial decisions any longer. Schedule a time to meet with our Mill Creek Financial Advisors and begin the journey towards achieving your dreams by visiting millcreekfinancialconsultants.com. No investment strategy can ensure peace of mind, assure profit, or guarantee against loss. Securities, products, and advisory services offered through Park Avenue Securities, LLC, PAS, member FINRA, SIPC.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We're here at the Greater Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce with our chairman, Terry Ard. Terry, thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Sue.
I know I feel like we've probably only had about 7 meetings already this week, but thank you just from me personally. Thank you for everything you are doing along with our board of directors and our committee chairs. We're having a great year thus far. We're just about at that midway point, and we're going to touch on a couple really exciting projects that we're working on and really kind of an update of how we're going to spend the rest of our year. But before we get started, and the feedback that we get from our listeners is so exciting when they say, well, I had no idea. So we want to touch on that for our listeners to know a little bit about you, how you found yourself here in Tallahassee, and what your professional, personal journey's been like.
Well, it's been a great journey and a blessing to be able to have a career here in Tallahassee. I was born and raised here, 5th generation Tallahassean. And I always thought after FSU, I would move to Atlanta or DC or New York and work at an agency. But the opportunity was right here in Tallahassee at the Moore Agency. And in August, I will have been at Moore for a total of 25 years. So it's been an incredible honor to have such an amazing career here in this community, but equally to serve as chair of the chamber this year. And what we all want to do is to make an impact in this community and make this a place that our children want to choose to stay here or come back and raise their families.
Well, in your role, and you've been there 25 years, and I know really recently, last 5 to 7 years, like a lot of our local businesses, a lot of transition, working through COVID. You serve in the role as president and COO. You have a great team at the Moore Agency. Maybe talk a little bit. We have so many great marketing communication firms. What I love, we have several on our board. We have Heidi Otway and Dustin Rivest. And I love how the industry really does work together to support each other and really elevate everyone's game. And so anytime we have a chance to drop a little bit of nuggets for our business owners and really our organization executives that are here, what the marketing communication world is like, what little nuggets you can put forward as to what has really helped you, or maybe individuals should be thinking about as they continue to build their business models.
Well, Sue, I love that question because everyone, no matter where you are in your career or what industry you work in, you have a role to think about what is your brand and how can you better reach your audience, whether you're selling a service or a product. And so, the trends that we see in communications and marketing, everything is focused on AI and technology and digital innovations. And it's a rapidly changing world. It is one that I'm excited at annual conference. We are going to have some speakers that are touching on each of those topics. We will have Erica Orange, who is an AI futurist that is going to share some great insight. But what I say to our clients is that you really have to have the surround sound of how you're reaching your audience. You can't forget that traditional public relations and traditional communications, whether it's event engagement or advocacy engagement, that is all important. Research says that an individual has to hear or see a message at least 10 times to take action. And so that surround sound of your message across various channels, whether it's in the Tallahassee Democrat or an ad that they hear on the radio, that surround sound is important to reach your audience and move them to action. But really, where the world is changing is artificial intelligence and all things digital technology.
Well, and one of the other areas that you've really kind of educated me on is a tool that is crowdsourcing.
Yes.
This is a little bit of a segue here of what we want to talk about in the chamber world at what we're doing on behalf of our members and our employees for the membership. And this is a really exciting time for us. We're going to talk about a campaign that will have launched by the time this podcast runs, and really why it's important and why it was important this year in our 100th year that we do this, to really check ourselves, going back to previous chairman of our board of directors. We had Sammy Dixon last year, Jay Smith before Sammy, your year, and moving forward, Rob Clark's year, next year, starting in January. So let's talk about that. Let's kind of jump in, because that is really what we also wanted to highlight, because it's very exciting and it's really important, not just for the chamber, but for the community. And this is something that you have assisted us and guided us all along the way, just by really donating your expertise in this. And there's been a team behind this as well. So let's maybe jump in on that.
Sure. Well, Sue, you are referencing an initiative called How Would You Advance Tallahassee? And we're going to peel back the layers of what that simple yet complex question means. But I want to take a moment to acknowledge our 100th year anniversary as a chamber and your leadership at this chamber for 27 years and helping to guide this business community and to elevate this community as a whole. I do sit here very honored to be chair, but I know before me have been so many great instrumental chairs and leaders of this organization that helped us to get to where we are today. And in our 100th year, we thought it was an important time to ask the question of how should we all be thinking about the future of our community? This community will celebrate a bicentennial year starting in January. And we have so much to be proud of what we've accomplished, but yet still so much more work to be done and some true challenges that we're faced with in this community that we need to overcome. And so you mentioned crowdsourcing. And so this initiative is very focused on having the collaboration and the engagement with our business community and every community member to weigh in and answer that question. If you're handed the microphone, what would you say for the things that we need to be most focused on as a community to advance and to elevate? So we are launching this campaign August 1. I hope as you're listening to this podcast, you will go to our website, and we will give the details of that website here in a moment, and that you will engage with us. You know, the best premise of engaging with an audience is to have a two-way conversation, a sender that delivers a message and a receiver, and then the receiver sends back a message. And that's exactly what crowdsourcing is. So our website is going to ask just that. How would you advance Tallahassee? Are we in the right direction or wrong direction? Or should we be thinking of something else as we continue to elevate? We also are asking questions of what's most important to preserve about our community. And what do we need to create more economic opportunity? Everything we are doing as a chamber is to be pro-jobs. So how can we keep the great talent in Tallahassee, and how do we recruit new talent and new business and industry to this community? And so we think it's an important time to ask these questions and to get input from an entire community. And then we're going to talk about what happens next when we get that input. So that's a little bit of background of this campaign and our important initiative in this 100th year as a chamber.
Well, and I think it's important, and thank you for referencing my tenure here, the 27 years. And I think the consistency has been, and it's so important, the roles that Chamber of Commerce's play. And I talk to my peers, whether it's Katrina Tuggerson with the Capital City Chamber, Antonio Jefferson with the Big Bend Minority Chamber. individuals come to us to ask us a lot of questions. Hopefully, businesses and our members and really even non-members come if they need support and assistance. Chambers of commerce are so important in communities. And we have 3 here in our community that work beautifully together. But I also think individuals come to chambers and say, where are we as a community? Because we try to do this full-time every day. It really starts becoming us. I know you know the work that we've done as a chamber because you've been on our board, but even you have said nobody has any idea until they're in a leadership role or a committee chair role. And so as a chamber, it's important for us to answer these questions, and I'm excited about this initiative because we do need the feedback and to also keep asking questions that are important to our community that I find most people are thinking about.
That's right.
They have an opinion or they want to give an opinion.
Yes. The genesis of this campaign really started 2.5 years ago when Jay Smith was the chair of our chamber board. And this chamber unveiled the Community Scorecard. And this Community Scorecard we use at the front of each of our board meetings. We have engaged with our other chamber partners. I'm so glad you mentioned them, Sue. They're critical to our community's success of the collaboration with all of our chambers. And we've invited them to use the scorecard. So this campaign, How Would You Advance Tallahassee, is focused on those key data points. And utilizing the data both to celebrate the accomplishments and even more importantly, to look at where are the opportunities and the challenges and how can we work together to overcome those challenges and to have even better solutions as we build a brighter future for our community. And so if you look at our scorecard, points such as by 2030, our population will grow by an estimated 18,000 people. We know growth is so important for this community. It's what makes this place special to build the trails and the parks and to have all the things that we love about this community. But we need the growth and we need the tax base to do that. So other data points we know, and this chamber has been very focused on pro-jobs, that currently there are 2 jobs for every person looking. So we do have a skills shortage. We are going to bring to life these data points even more through this initiative and have a broader conversation around the data as we look at the solutions to move forward.
Well, and I think the commitment that the chamber has shown over past years, as you said, and evolving and moving forward is so critical. And again, I can't emphasize this enough because oftentimes individuals say, do you just get feedback from your members or do you get it from the community? And this initiative that's out in the marketplace now, 2 days, and we're going to give the website at the end so individuals and our listeners can make sure that they weigh it in and also share it. We want the community to give the input. And so I think that's critical. Maybe the last piece, and again, we are at a mid-year point with our fiscal year starting in January. As an organization, this is so important. As I said, Rob Clark will be stepping in as our chairman in January. He's already hard at work as chair of our Business Advocacy Committee. We have a podcast on record if anyone wants to see the great work he's doing. But this is also going to be a planning model tool for as we move forward. And I think that's just so important and what a great value for us to have to make sure we hit the mark.
That's right, Sue. So we invite each of our listeners to go to the website, tellusnowtlh.com. And when you go to that website, you will see the Community Scorecard data points. You will also see the accomplishments that as a chamber we have had over the past year. And then you will be invited to answer 5 key questions. And that input will be utilized as we develop our chamber strategic plan for the future of this community. The feedback that we receive, we are real optimistic that it will be insightful, it will be constructive, it will be helpful to build for the future. And the most collaborative engagements on crowdsourcing have changed industries, have changed our world, have made a bigger, bolder impact. And I'm confident that as we all lean in to work together, to all have a voice, that we too, as a community, can see change and transformation for the future.
Well, and I think that's important. And thank you, Terry, for your leadership. And again, to our board of directors, I encourage our listeners, maybe take a glance at our website, talchamber.com, and go to the board of directors. You will see industry and businesses and organizations represented. It's a large board, but that is so important in the work that we do because we are working with many, many stakeholders in our community. And so I think that's also important for our members to know this isn't just a handful of individuals who think this is the right thing to do. This is really a very diverse group of individuals who give a commitment of their time. And know that when you do go and give your opinion and you take just a few minutes to fill out that information on the survey, it's going to really be put to great use. And the individuals seeing it will also be business and organizational leaders in our community, and they need to see the feedback as well. So again, this is not just going to stay within the chamber walls. This is really a community resource, and we're looking forward to really rolling out what the findings are and planning as a chamber. So Terry, this is wonderful. I thank you for your expertise and your willingness to guide us, but also just be there for us a lot. And this is exciting. Any closing comments?
I just want to echo your point on our board of directors. What an honor to lead them, such a diverse cross-section of our business leadership that bring tremendous expertise to guide this chamber and to help us each day to do more than what we did yesterday. You mentioned Rob Clark as our chair-elect and his focus on advocacy. We are working on some really important issues for this community, from homelessness to what needs to be the future for creating more job growth and to retain talent here. And so as we receive this feedback on this initiative of How Would You Advance Tallahassee, we will be bringing this forward with our engagement with city and county elected officials and leadership. This information and insight that we receive from our community is best going to advance our community when we share it and collaborate and all work together to move in an even bolder and more robust direction as we build a bright future for our community. So please go to tellusnowtlh.com and give us your feedback. And we look forward to sharing the updates as we hear the insights and feedback. Sue, thank you for all you do for this chamber and this community.
Thank you, Terry. Appreciate you as well.